Hello, Simmers. We're back. Some more Cocytus River Rats Draft to Glory franchise mode in FHM 11. And the last one, we went through year number 6, in which we almost made the playoffs. 19th in the league, 88 points, only 2 points behind San Jose. So we were close. We were pretty close. That was our best season to date. And with players like Bouchard, McKenna, Vananen, Stenberg all getting better. Then you have Andreev, only 20 years of age, 2.5-star talent, 4.5-star potential. You have Katachev and Frolov in net, who have been doing fantastic so far. And then, of course, you also have players who we haven't signed yet, such as Tyson Orr, 2-star talent, 4.5-star potential. And then, of course, also on defense, you have Blake Baxter, who we drafted last year. So a lot of potential on this team, a very bright future, it seems, which I would imagine is only about to get brighter with this upcoming draft. So before we advance to July 1st, there are a few players that we're going to be releasing this year. That would include Alexander Romanov, who he was asking for way too much money for way too much term. He was asking, I think it was 9.7 for 6 years. I was not willing to do that for a 30-year-old, and he was not willing to come down. So we are going to be sending him to free agency. And then there's also Tomas Novak. I mean, he doesn't want too much money, though. I guess I could offer him just as some depth, just some insurance. Yeah, I guess I'll do that. But everybody else on this list is getting released. And when it comes to unsigned prospects, I'm going to be waiting at least until after the draft to see what our roster situation is looking like before I sign any of these guys, because there's no signing deadlines coming up this year. And one thing we have to do before advancing to July 1st is extend Drew Bannister, because he is up for renewal. And he's been our coach ever since we came into the league 6 years ago. And he's never really had a solid roster to work with, right? So I'm hoping that this year is going to be the year that this team breaks out and that we can make the playoffs. So I'm going to give him one more chance. Go 2 seasons for Drew Bannister, and we'll see what he can do with this roster that he has helped develop over the past 6 years and is finally starting to come into its own, right? So I want to see what he's able to do with a team that's actually, relatively competitive. All right, here we go. Time for the draft lottery. At number 17, you have Anaheim, followed by Edmonton, and then your Cocytus River Rats at number 15. Then you have Colorado, Anaheim, Winnipeg, Minnesota, Boston, so Carolina moves up. The Islanders, Vegas, Winnipeg, the Rangers, Tampa, San Jose, so Philly moves up. Then you have LA at number 3, Philly at number 2, and Carolina wins the NHL draft lottery. All right, here we go. Time for the draft. Let's get straight to our pick at number 15. And it seems there are a few players available on my draft list, which I made ahead of time. So you have Tyler Hutchins, Lucas Berg, Axel Jensen, and Igor Kapustin. I suppose we'll compare the 4 of them. Kapustin has the highest current ability by far with that 1.5-star ability. So I think any comparison here is going to be probably going to Kapustin, just given how far ahead he is of everybody else. Yeah, I'd say he's the best physically. Offensively, obviously, he's the best offensively. Don't even need to look twice at that. Then defensively, honestly, I would say if it weren't for Hutchins' 16 checking, I would say he's the best well-rounded defensively as well. So I think for me, it's got to be between Hutchins and Kapustin. Hutchins was supposed to go at 12 and Kapustin is supposed to go at 22. I think what I might do here is try to trade for Edmonton's pick at number 16, get both of them back-to-back. All right, I think I found a trade here for Edmonton's first-round pick. We're going to be sending Luca Romano to Edmonton alongside a second-round pick and a fifth-round pick for this year's draft. Romano's 23, 2-star ability. He seems NHL ready. However, he has been stuck in the AHL the past 3 years. I don't think he's going to get the chance in our lineup at this point, just given how much of a logjam we have at center. So I think it would be for the best to send him on his way. So Romano, a second and a fifth for Edmonton's first finalized trade. There it is. So with that, we now have 2 picks in a row in which we can take both Hutchins and Kapustin. So I think I will take Kapustin first. Welcome to the Cocytus River Rats, Igor Kapustin. And then I will take Tyler Hutchins. Welcome to the Cocytus River Rats. So there you go. A forward and a defenseman. I really like a lot of Kapustin's strengths, as well as his personality, and the same goes for Tyler Hutchins. And not to mention, they both have pretty good ratings as well, so I think they'll both turn out to be pretty good. So now let's simulate ahead to the 3rd round as we traded our 2nd-round pick. And it looks like we're starting to get to the point where there is not as much depth in these later rounds. So we're really going to have to read these strengths and weaknesses here, because I think that's going to be key to finding some late-round gems. they're going to take Tomas Pasenka here with this pick. He doesn't have anything that really stands out about him in terms of his ratings, but he does have a pretty good personality, and he also has some decent strengths here in his playmaking ability, his physical strength, and above average stamina. So we'll be taking him with this pick. Welcome to the Cocytus River Rats. And on to pick 113 now. It doesn't seem that there's too many 18-year-olds left, at least none of note. So I'm going to filter out all the 19 and 20-year-olds. And it seems we only have 1.5 star potentials remaining. They're going to take Igor Petrov here. He's got intangibles, first of all. Strong intangibles. I like that. Above average strength, terrific stamina, fantastic vision and ability to read the play. His skating ability is a positive. And then he's also a big game performer. Love to see that. So, I mean, he may be a ways away from the NHL, and he may only have a 1.5 star potential, according to team scouting. But I like the looks of him, so we'll be taking him with this pick. All right, on to rat number 6 now. The options here in the draft are getting rather small. I think we'll be taking Rasmus Nyberg. He has a good playmaking ability, fairly strong player, and none of his weaknesses are a serious liability. And then also his personality is pretty good as well. And obviously at this point in the draft, there's not too many great players left, so I'll just take what I can get here. Rasmus Nyberg, welcome to the Cocytus River Rats. And I think with this last pick, I'll be taking Vitaly Zivliuk. The strongest part of his game is his physical play. He has decent on-ice vision. He is above average skater, a little stronger than most players, pretty good stamina, and none of his weaknesses are a serious liability. And pressure is his middle name, and he thrives on it. So I like the looks of that. So we'll be taking Vitaly Zivliuk with this last pick. And that'll be it for the draft. I think going into this season, I will be signing Tyson Orr and Igor Kapustin, but everybody else can stay unsigned for right now. And inducted into the Hockey Hall of Fame this year are Jaromir Jagr, Brent Burns, Steve Larmer, and Marc-Andre Fleury. All right, we had a pretty decent prospects tournament. We won 3 out of 4 games. We lost 2-1 against Dallas with a lone goal of the game by Andrew O'Neill. Then a 2-0 win over Calgary with goals by Krivenek and Staritsky. Then you have a 4-3 win over Florida with goals by Brindamore, Larson, Kapustin, and Lavrov. And then a 4-2 win over Chicago with goals by Pasenka, Carlson, Pasenka again, and then Pasenka with the hat trick into the empty net. Oh, so something I didn't realize about Tyson Orr is that apparently he's had a minor injury, a torn back muscle, since August 18th, 2029. That's last season, before last season started, and still indefinite status. That's a bit concerning. And that's before his NHL career even starts. That's unfortunate. Gonna have to keep an eye on that. So I think we're probably gonna have to, I'm just gonna keep him on the injury list for right now, because I don't want that to get worse. I mean, obviously he can play, right? It says it's only a minor injury, but like I said, I don't think that's something worth risking his future over if it can possibly get better, So I think for him, the main thing right now is to just heal up and hopefully be back in time for maybe the playoffs. I think we're going to drop Colton at this point. He's a 2-star ability, 34 years of age, and we're just getting to that point now where we don't really need him anymore. So we're going to be sending down to Frozen Creek. Now I just have to make one more cut, and I think that's going to be Frollo. And of course, we're also still below the salary cap ceiling, so we have to go out to free agency and sign a veteran to a nice, juicy contract to end off their career. And I think that'll be Adam Ernie, who's currently a 1/2-star ability. So I'll give him 10 mil for 1 year. Then, of course, I will send him down to the AHL, and that should be good enough for the salary cap. And we're right at the floor, basically. So, in fact, I might want to go ahead and sign one more, which I think will be Vinny Lettieri. All right, there you go. Now we are in a comfortable position when it comes to the salary cap. So let's take a look at our roster heading into year number 7. In goal, we have Frolov and Katachev. On defense, you have Bouchard, Pellizzari, Elifson, Kotajärvi, Välimäki, Kjellberg, and Hakanson. And at forward, you have McKenna, Vananen, Stenberg, Andreev, Neuenschwander, Hermanson, Anisimowicz, Brown, Carlson, Spelquist, Kindell, Denoye, Gastrin, and Wotherspoon. Now, having sent down Ross Colton, we are going to need a new captain. And to be honest, I'm split between McKenna and Bouchard. I'm not sure who to give it to. McKenna had 53 points last year, 63 points the year before, then 60 points and 50. So McKenna's been really steady when it comes to his point production, but he has not broken out yet. like I hoped he would. Hopefully this will be his breakout year. And then you also have Aiden Bouchard, who in his 3 years here, he started out with 21 points, then up to 54 and then 53 last year. So once again, another consistent 50 kind of 60 point guy. So I think for me, it's going to come down to personality because both their leadership ratings are at 14. I do like Bouchard's determination at 19. I think McKenna's got a better personality though, because Bouchard is a little prone to controversy. McKenna also has a better temperament and better professionalism as well. So I think the slight edge goes to McKenna. So Gavin McKenna is the new captain of your Cocytus River Rats. Then Bouchard will be promoted to alternate 1. And then as for alternate 2, I think for right now, that's going to be Vananen. He's been pretty good the past couple of seasons. So that being done, let's get underway with the year 7 simulation with your Cocytus River Rats. Ooh, Gavin McKenna out in 2 to 3 weeks. Oh, another injury. Ooh, Pellizzari out 3 to 4 months, ruptured tendon in his foot. Ooh, I just noticed something about Valimaki, who won't be well liked. That was not there before. I did not notice that. So onto the trade block he goes, which figures because as we take a look at our team harmony, we have a very big click here. This has persisted for quite some time and it's basically gotten out of control at this point. So I think we're definitely going to have to get Valimaki out of here as soon as we get a 6th round pick for him. So we'll be sending him to Winnipeg. There you go. So hopefully that means we can start getting the team chemistry or team harmony rather under control. And I think I will call up Krivenek to replace him. Okay, so we're on December 1st. We are 12 and 16. Certainly not taking the steps forward so far this year that I'd hoped we would. So let's take a look at what's going on here. In goal, you have Frolov in 19 games played with a .918 save percentage, 1 shutout, and a goal save above average of 6.61. Then Katichev in 9 games played with a .910. Now let's see skaters. Yep, that would be the problem. We still do not really have much going on for us offensively. Our leading scorer so far is Andreev with 17 points, 10 goals. Stenberg and Kotijarvi with 16 points. Carlson with 15. Anisimowicz with 14. Hermanson and Bouchard with 13. Denoya with 11. Neuenschwander, Vananen, and Pellizzari with 10. Elefson with 9. Spalkvist with 8. Wotherspoon, Brown, and Kjellberg with 5. McKenna and Hakanson with 4. McKenna with 4 in 16 games played. Ouch. Wow. And then Gastrin and Kindell with 2. And then Krivenek with nothing in 1 game played. Yeah, that's a problem. That is a problem for Gavin McKenna. Only 4 points. I think we may have to fire Drew Bannister here because he is not working out so far with that standard preference and then balanced everything else. I mean, maybe that's an overreaction just given that McKenna's been consistent every other year, but so far this is a very, very poor start for Gavin McKenna. I know he started out injured, but I mean, come on. That's a little ridiculous. Tyson Orr, it looks like he's going to be back in 2 to 3 months. That's good. Pellizzari will also be back in 2 to 3 months. But still, that does not excuse the poor performance point-wise from Gavin McKenna. And then even Vananen as well, 10 points in 28 games played. He had 60 points last year. Spelkvist only with 8 as a 3.5-star talent. His offensive category looks pretty good. I mean, I don't see why he wouldn't be getting the points there. I mean, maybe our defensive core is too weak offensively. Maybe it's just the fact that it's Bouchard and, Elefson that are capable of helping out offensively, but still. I mean, we could always try to promote Rod Brindamore to head coach and see what happens. I hired him as an assistant coach because one of our assistant coaches retired and we had the staff budget for him, so I figured why not. I like that he prefers prospects as well because obviously we are a team that is right now full of young guys. The oldest player on our team is Anisimowicz, 24. So basically all the players we drafted in the expansion draft are off the team now. So I think it makes sense to have Brindamore as the head coach here. So yeah, I think we're going to fire Bannister. This year has just been really underwhelming. And it's a huge year for the team itself, right? So I think we're going to be firing him and then we'll replace him with Rod Brindamore. Or maybe the team's just not as good as we thought. Maybe last year was a fluke. It's starting to look like that, to be honest, because we are the only team in the Beings division with a minus differential, minus 27 for that matter. Yeah, we are not scoring whatsoever. Ooh, Neuenschwander goes down, fractured finger of 2 to 3 months. And Tyson Orr has finally returned from his injury. So we're going to move him out to the active roster and he will get his first NHL action. We'll see what he can do. Hopefully help turn this team around. All right, we're at March 1st now. We are 27, 33, and 6. Obviously not making the playoffs. 11th in the Beings division, and we are currently 27th in the league. So looks like another lottery pick is ahead of us. And we have Cocytus, despite all that, with a 926 save percentage, currently second in the league in save percentage. He's been very good for us so far. And what I want to do here is renew some contracts in Hermanson, Spelkvist, Brown, Frollo, and Wotherspoon, and of course Frolov. So Hermanson wants 4.2 for 4 years. Got him down to 3.97 for 4 years. Spelkvist, he wants 3.5 for 5 years. And I got him down to 3.48 for 5 years. Frollo, 1 mil for 3 years. Sounds good to me. Brown, 2.4 for 3 years. And I got him down to 2.32 for 3 years. Wotherspoon wants 2.5 for 3 years. And got him down to 2.46. Frolov wants 3.3 for 3 years. That's a great contract for him. And got him down to 3.19 for 3 years. All right, good. Pellizzari is back on the active roster as well. So I think with that being done, we'll advance through the rest of the regular season of year number 7. All right, we have finished the regular season 34, 42, and 6, 74 points, good enough for 11th in the Beings division and 28th in the league. Not good. Not good. I did not think this team would regress after what we did last season. So let's take a look at the player stats and see who did what. In goal, you have a 915 save percentage for Frolov in 50 games played, 1 shutout, and a goal saved above average of 11.14. And then for Cocytus in 38 games played, he had a 922 save percentage, 1 shutout, and 15.54 goals saved above average. So Frolov and Cocytus continue to be good. On defense, you have Bouchard and Kotyarvi, each with 35 points on the back end. Then you have Elofsson with 28, Pellizzari with 18, Kjellberg with 17, Hakanson with 16, and Krivenek with 4. And at forward, you have Stenberg leading the way with 53 points. So yet again, our issue is definitely in goal scoring. Then you have Andreev with 50 points, Vananen with 46, Spalkvist with 44, Carlson and Denoye with 41, Gavin McKenna only with 39 points in 70 games played. Ouch. Hermanson with 33, Anisimowicz with 31, Neuenschwander with 22, Brown with 18, Wotherspoon with 17, Gastron with 8, Kindell with 5, and Orr with 4 in 13 games played. So I don't think we really need to look at the team stats here. We know where this team is weak, and that's definitely offense. And we're definitely going to have to try to address that in the upcoming draft. But until then, all we can do is simulate ahead and see who wins the Stanley Cup. And the 2030-31 Stanley Cup champions are the Vancouver Canucks. This is their first Stanley Cup with the game-winning goal scored by Dylan Holloway. They went through Buffalo, Florida, Seattle, and Chicago. And now it's time for the awards ceremony. For the Ted Lindsay and the Art Ross, it is Connor McDavid. 43 goals, 122 points. For the Moise Richard, it is Andrei Svechnikov with 44 goals, 107 points. For the Lady Byng, it is Jesper Bratt. 27 goals, 58 points. For the Bill Masterton, it is Alexander Barkov. 14 goals, 41 points at 35 years of age. For the Mark Messier Leadership Award is Mikey Burchild of the Islanders, 23 years of age, not their captain. 21 goals and 43 points. And then for the Jennings Trophy, you have Samuel Carreras-Pata, who we actually traded to the Vancouver Canucks, as he had a 909 save percentage this year in 46 games played in his rookie season in the NHL. Now for the heart between Hughes, Bedard, and McDavid, it is McDavid. For the Conn Smythe, it is Quinn Hughes with 33 points in 25 games played for Vancouver. For the Calder between Chase Harrington, Emil Ricard, and Marek Vambersky, it is Emil Ricard of Utah, 56 points. For the Norris between Owen Protz, Quinn Hughes, and Lane Hudson, it is Quinn Hughes with 83 points on the regular season for Vancouver. For the Selkie between Dylan Holloway, Barrett Hayton, and Gavin Brindley, it is Barrett Hayton of New Jersey with 48 points. For the Vezina between Jake Ottinger, Lucas Dostal, and Jeremy Swayman, it is Lucas Dostal of Anaheim with a 926 save percentage and 5 shutouts in 67 games played. GM of the year between Bill Zito, Patrick Alvin, and Kyle Davidson, it is Patrick Alvin of Vancouver. And for the Jack Adams between Francis Bouillon, Anders Sorensen, and Daniel Buckner, it is Francis Bouillon of Vancouver. So with a disappointing year number 7 in the books, I think it's about time to wrap this one up here. But not, of course, before I thank the channel members, thank you guys so much for all your support. And I'll see you guys in the next one when we go through year number 8 with your Cocytus River Rats and hopefully have a better outcome than we did this year.